Well, Luka Doncic had himself an Ice Cube day, messed around and got a triple-double in his first game against the Dallas Mavericks. 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists as the Lakers fend off the Dallas Mavericks last night in L.A., the first time that Luka played his former team.
Game had some juice. I'll tell you that game had some juice. The game itself was good. The lead-up was good. Luka was very clearly bothered.
Dude, he was, yeah. I mean, you could tell he didn't shoot well.
No.
By any means. You could tell we talked about this at the end of our show yesterday, where it was like, I thought he would be pressing a little bit too much. And you saw that. He did settle in. He hit some massive shots. And
he was 19, 15, and 12. Like, he was really good.
Turned around and looked directly at Nico Harrison.
That first big three he hit, or the only three he hit, he stared a dagger into Nico's chest.
And if you're Nico Harrison, the worst thing that you could have done is worn like the brightest blue suit in the world.
It was on purpose, and honestly.
And so he could identify you immediately.
I respect Nico for that.
Oh, really?
No, see, I'm dead serious. Not only did he show up, he had to show up.
Yep.
I don't care if it's in LA. You made that move.
I don't think he's going to show up in Dallas, though. He won't go into the crowd in Dallas. He'll be like up in a box and in a luxury suite and have security.
Yeah.
But he won't be in the crowd like he was last night.
I think honestly they keep him in a tunnel.
Did you see the photo that came out of that?
The one over Luka's shoulder?
It's over Luka's shoulder,
fantastic.
And it's focused on Nico Harrison sitting in the crowd. And you can see Luka's head is just tilted right at him. Yeah. Just right at him.
Post-game, they asked Luka if he saw Nico when he was warming up, and he said no, which is hilarious because Nico in that bright blue Dallas Mavericks blue suit was sitting on the
He was leaning up against the scorer's table. Yeah, at center court.
Yeah, which is not something that's uncommon for him. He does that.
Yeah. Well, GMs, coaches, execs, that's where they all will congregate. You know, right, just like a football game, right, where the coaches meet at midfield. You'll see both sides kind of go and just sit near mid-court and lean on the scorer's table. He was right there, and Luka was 15 feet from him. Yeah, he saw him.
What I thought was interesting coming out of it was immediately following the game, he hops on the broadcast with TNT, and I think it was Candace asked him kind of how you're feeling, and you could just hear him go, I'm tired.
Yeah, he wants to go sleep.
I just want to go home.
Well,
and it wasn't like a defeated.
That's why they traded him. He's out of shape.
It was very much you could tell, like, he's still not just like bothered, he's wounded.
Yeah, mentally taxing.
Yeah, like you just be like, and this wasn't even what's going to be truly taxing. It's the return to Dallas.
April 9th.
Vince Carter talked about it when he got back to Toronto, and he's like, yeah, I went for 39 and a 360 dunk.
Hell yeah. We need to talk about Shaquille O'Neal absolutely gaslighting Vince Carter on that set. So on the set was Vince Carter, Candace Parker, Shaquille O'Neal,
and Lefko.
And Lefko. And they're sitting there, and Lefko says, best in-game dunker of all time. Vince is like, yeah. And Shaquille O'Neal throws out a litany of names of good dunkers. Dr. J, great dunker. Yep. Throws out Jordan, Sean Kemp he threw in there, which was a great dunker.
Great in-game dunker.
Then he said David Lee was a better dunker than Vince Carter.
I love Shaq.
I mean, it was like...
Not Blake Griffin, not, hell, you could go with Gerald Henderson or who was the other? Gerald Green. Gerald Green was an insane in-game dunker. David Lee?
No, he was gaslighting.
Florida legend, David Lee.
And Vince Carter was just sitting there biting his tongue because he's a polite man.
Mm-hmm.
But, then Lefko asked him, well, who would you not be offended by on this list? And he was like, I'd be offended by everybody. Vince Carter's the best in-game and out-of-game dunker in NBA history. Yes. Because you take what he did in the slam dunk contests, which were electrifying, and then he jumped over a man and ruined his basketball career.
Literally ended his career. The last time he saw a professional court was in the Olympics against Vince Carter, a 7-footer that Vince jumped over. Just think about that for a
Yeah.
second. Vince Carter
Yeah.
got his waist above 7 feet off the ground.
That's some professional gaslighting by Shaquille O'Neal.
That to me is the best in-game dunk in the history of basketball.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unfathomable
It was
to do that in a game.
to a grown man.
To even have the audacity to try that is just, I can't even like wrap my head around that. Every time that, you have clips on social media where like, oh, watching that. Any single time, Vince Carter best in-game dunks. I don't care if it's 37 minutes long and I'm sitting on the toilet and my legs are going numb.
It's like
it's press play and we're watching it all, baby.
Dude, I will. Vince Carter dunks, Barry Sanders highlights. I am hooked. You'll get me 10 times out of 10
every single time.
Yeah, you will get me 10 times out of 10.
There's no better dunk highlight reel than Vince Carter's dunk highlight reel. It is the standard.
Yeah,
it is the gold standard. And look, there's been guys that have. I mean, Aaron Gordon's a monster. Zach LaVine's a monster. You're talking about modern guys.
Yep.
LeBron's got some monsters. Nobody has Vince Carter's list.
Going back to LeBron, like in that game last night, what that man is doing in games still at 40 years old.
You see
that half-court lob that he
the layup?
Yeah, he
the
didn't
body,
dunk it.
The body control that he just because he's full sprint. He's 40 years old. He is full sprint. Catches it with maybe a step before he has to go up. And he basically comes to a stop and goes straight up in the air and twists his body and sneaks it up between two defenders and finishes it. I jumped out of my chair because I went, how? You are 40, dog.
He is defeating Father Time right now. And
if he's not defeating him, he's at least keeping him back.
I don't care what you want to say about what he takes. What he
takes it all, and I don't care.
What he's doing is absolutely incredible to see. And last night was kind of that first, all right, Luka, LeBron in a high leverage situation, right? Because they got a pass for the first game against Denver where it's like, yeah, they won that game, but they were so new and getting used to each other. It was almost as if like this was the perfect time to play the Dallas Mavericks because they've gotten a little bit of time to get used to each other, how they play alongside each other. And to be quite frank, from what we saw the first couple of games with Luka playing with the Lakers to what we saw last night, the Lakers as a team defensively are doing a far better job adjusting to his shortcomings as a defender.
JJ Redick said over the last couple of weeks, LeBron James is playing all defensive caliber defense, and I'd agree.
Yeah.
He's been very good, not having to have that offensive burden. Did you see the play? LeBron at the left wing, Luka posting up Max Christie. He backs him down, double comes, Luka throws it back to LeBron. He reposts him, LeBron posts him, throws the entry pass. Luka backs him down a little bit further, double comes again, he throws it back out to Bron. Bron throws it back down to Luka. They double him one more time, and Luka fires it back, and it's LeBron 3. And I'm like, nobody had to work for anything there.
No, that's like when you go to like an open gym run and you see those two guys who are way too old, but you're like, they shouldn't be here. And then they are always on the same team. You're like, yeah, we're duped. We're done.
Yeah.
They're just going to be. It was old man game. They were just old man gaming.
Do the most with the least.
And it was, I hope and I pray, but it was Luka trying to get a drop step dunk on Max Christie because he was traded for him. You don't go in that many times unless you're trying to embarrass Max Christie. And they didn't, but they found their way.
No, but it was, did you see the post game? All of the Mavs, one by one, came up to Luka.
As they should. As they should, man. Like, they didn't want to see him leave.
I mean, Kyrie's been pretty adamant. Like, yeah, not thrilled about it.
No, I mean, why would he be? Especially with Anthony Davis being injured. Anthony Davis being injured is the cherry on top.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're hearing what's coming out of that on the Dallas side is his Luka Doncic and his
drinking
love for beer. They say in the next 5 years,
his body's going to fail him.
They're going to see a catastrophic decline in Luka Doncic because he doesn't care about his body. We'll see. You should probably keep those things to yourself, though, because if there's one thing for Luka Doncic to go, I'm going to prove you wrong, and I'm going to start putting $1 million into my body like LeBron James does, that would probably be it.
The thing about this is that in talking to folks in Dallas, they're like, obviously they, the front office had talks about Luka, about being in shape, and like the ego management stuff that you get with stars that comes with it.
Yep.
But there's a lot of people down there around the team that feel like that the Mavs front office was cowardly, and they didn't like draw a line in the sand of, brother, if you don't get your S together, we will ship you out of here. Which seems like if you've got a player of that talent, you should probably try that first. Jason Kidd in the postgame, that Luka Doncic guy, he fills up the box score.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, imagine if you had that on your team.
Yeah, it'd be pretty awesome. It'd be pretty awesome to have.
Unreal.
Well, Luka's return, it went the way of the Los Angeles Lakers, or I guess not his return. Luka's first matchup with his former team went the way of the Lakers last night, and now we got to wait till April 9th to see kind of how this whole thing sorts out and plays out, because that will be an amped up environment when the Lakers go to Dallas. And right now, what's interesting to me is there a pathway where, I mean, when do we see Luka? We could see a playoff series. It'd have to be a second round series, though, between the Mavericks and Lakers, because the Lakers aren't going to fall to 6, and they're probably going to be in that 4-5 range. I mean, if they fall to 6, they're still not going to face the Mavericks, because Mavericks have so much ground to make up. We'd have to see it in the second round. Sign me up for that, for a second round matchup.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, the narrative alone is fantastic.
But there's no. I have real questions about Dallas getting there and finishing that thing off.
Yeah.
I mean, without Anthony Davis, and how long he's got? What, another month that he's out?
At least.
At least another month.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good luck on that one.